Hello everyone and welcome to another math tutorial. In this video we're going to go over how to find the volumes of both prisms and cylinders. Similar type shapes, they also have a very similar formula to find their volumes. Let's get started with the prism. Okay, to find the volume of a prism, there are two quantities that you need to know. You need to know the area of the base, we're going to call B, capital B, and you also need to know the height of the prism, we'll call H. And the area formula then for any prism, it can be rectangular like you see in these. It can also be leaning like this, that's fine. The height is still just the perpendicular distance between the bases. But again, it can be rectangular, triangular, any kind of prism. Volume is equal to the area of the base times the height. Now keep in mind that the area of the base, that is going to depend on the shape of the base. If the base of the prism is a square or a rectangle, that's going to be worked out differently than if the base of the prism is a triangle, per se. So how you find that area is totally dependent on what shape you have. But then it's just that area times the height will compute your volume. All right, our first example to find the volume, we have a triangular prism. So our volume formula is again base area times height. The height is the distance between the two triangular bases. So the height right there is 2. H is going to be 2. We'll plug in there. For the base area, we have to find the area of the triangle. Okay, the triangle that we see on top and bottom. We need to find the area of this triangle here. Now, to find the area of a triangle, you use the formula 1/2 times its base and height. Please note that this height right here is different than this height. This height was referencing the entire prism. This height now is just referencing the triangle that we see right here. And so the base and the height of the triangle, we work that out. The base and height of the triangle, if it's 3 here, it's 3 right there. 4 copies down to 4. The base and the height are 3 and 4. So we're going to do 1/2 times 3 times 4. Half of 3 times 4 is 6. Okay, so that's our base area. So our volume now can be computed by doing the base area 6 times the height 2. And so the volume is going to be 12. Volume always has units cubed, so 12 centimeters cubed. All right, our next example problem asks us to find the volume of this prism. So again, volume formula is base area times height. The height of this prism is the distance between the top and the bottom of this prism, which is 5. Okay, so we've got that number. The base area, the shape of the base, if we look at it right here, the shape of the base, bottom of this figure, is a trapezoid. So I need to find the area of that trapezoid. And the area of a trapezoid is 1/2 times its height times the sum of the bases. And again, just like the last problem, it's important to note that this height right here is not the same as this height. This height, we are only looking at the trapezoid. Half of the height is the distance between the two parallel sides of the trapezoid. And that distance is right here, 3. And then the bases are the long length 14 and the shorter length 6. So we want 1/2 times 3 times 20. 3 times 20 is 60, and half of that is 30. Okay, so there's our base area. We can now find our volume by doing that. Base area 30 times the height 5. So volume is 150 centimeters cubed. Okay, next let's talk about the cylinder and how to find the volume of that. Actually, it's exactly the same as how we find the volume of a prism. Still going to use the area of the base. We're still going to use the height. The volume formula is the base area times the height, just like with the prism. Now, the difference here is that the base of a cylinder is always a circle. So that base area formula is not going to change from shape to shape to shape as it's going to for a prism. And because it's always going to be a circle, we can modify this formula and go ahead and put that area formula in for the base area. And so that's what I'm going to do. We're going to say the volume of a cylinder is pi times radius squared, that's the circle area, times the height. So again, same idea, it's just that we can replace base area with pi r squared because it's never going to change, because the base of this is never going to change. It's always going to be circular. All right, let's see a couple examples of this. Okay, we've got a cylinder. We're trying to find the volume of this cylinder. Volume formula is pi radius squared times height. So let's plug in our values. The volume is going to be pi times the radius is 9 feet. So 9 squared times the height, which is the distance between the top and bottom circles of this cylinder, which is 6. So our volume is going to be pi times 9 squared is 81 times 6. And let's get a calculator out. We'll work this out two different ways. 81 times 6 is 486. So the volume could be 486 pi. Units are feet cubed. So that's our exact answer. If you are asked for an exact answer, that's it. Or if you are asked for an answer that is expressed in terms of pi, then we stop right there. 486 pi. If we want an approximate answer, we'll just type in 486 times pi. As a decimal, it's 1,526.8 feet cubed. And of course, when you get an approximate answer, just check and see where we asked to round this to. Our next example, nothing really different about this example from the last one. The only difference is in appearance, is how this is leaning, but we're going to work this out the same way. Volume of this cylinder is pi radius squared times height. Radius is 4, height is 7. So our volume is going to be pi times 16 times 7. 16 times 7 is 112. So we have 112 pi. Units are centimeters cubed. Okay, so there's our exact answer. If we want it as a decimal, we can type 112 times pi onto our calculator. We get 351.9 centimeters cubed. Okay, our final example of this video is asking us to find the volume of the composite figure. So when you look at this, and it might be hard to see on the video, what we've got is a larger cylinder here, and then we've got kind of a hollowed out cutout. If you can imagine maybe a roll of paper towels might look like, or a roll of toilet paper might look like, how you have that hollowed out pore in the middle. That's what we have essentially. So if I want to find the volume of this composite figure, I'm going to find the volume of the, I'm going to say, larger cylinder, and then I'm going to subtract from that the volume of the smaller cylinder. So if I find the volume of the whole thing and then take away the inside part, that will in effect hollow it out and give me the volume of what's left over. So the volume of each of these cylinders is going to be pi r squared times h. The height is going to be the same in both these. What we need to be careful of is what we're putting in for the radius. Those are going to be different. So in the larger cylinder, the radius has a length of 8. So we're going to go pi times 8 squared times the height, which is 11, minus the smaller cylinder has a radius of 3, so we're going to go pi 3 squared times 11. So 8 squared times 11 is 704, so we have 704 pi minus, and then this is 9 squared times 11, or 3 squared, which is 9 times 11, so that's going to be 99 pi. And then 704 minus 99 is going to give us 605 pi. Units are inches, so we want inches cubed. If we want an approximate answer, we can of course type in 605 times pi and get 1,900.7 inches cubed. Okay, that concludes our video on finding volumes of prisms and cylinders. If you have any questions, please drop them in the comments below. If you found this content helpful, please give the video a thumbs up. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you in the next one.